Hey everybody, welcome to our latest and our last high school football chat of the high school football season. I'm Jami Frankenberry.
And I'm Larry Rubama.
And we heard the groans. We know it's the last one. There's a lot of people upset. I think I heard some sobbing, but that's okay. So, Larry, let's talk about last week's football games. Oscar Smith and Colonial Forge, Highland Springs and Norview. Only one 757Teamz team is still standing, and that's the Tigers. What do you think about the Tigers making the state title game?
Defense again. You know, I'll never forget Richard Morgan said before he left to go to Georgia, he said this team was good enough to get back to the state. There they are. New coach in Bill D, but Bill, we know he has plenty of experience getting to the state and winning the state. Now it's all their chance. I know as well as Shawn Mitchell, the quarterback, is saying that, you know, all his honors he's got for records and things, the thing he wanted most was a state title. Now he's got a chance to play for another one, his third.
Yeah, we'll get to that matchup later on in the show, if that's what you can call this. But you know, Oscar Smith, you know, Shawn Mitchell was really bottled up the whole game. But they hop on a fumble in the fourth quarter. Shawn Mitchell only has to drive him 40 yards. He finds Kailen Perry in the corner of the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. It was quite a finish. And, you know, Colonial Forge pretty much pushed Oscar Smith around, but Oscar Smith and Shawn Mitchell found a way to win.
And it's almost fitting. He breaks the record as well, the touchdown that he throws. So, I mean, it's been that kind of season. Now you wonder, does that mystique, does that magic still continue? We'll find out on Saturday.
That's right. Now, Highland Springs and Norview, you were at that game up in the Richmond area. Highland Springs wins 28-25. Dariel Mack, who had some magic last week against Hampton, did not have the magic late in the game this week.
No, he didn't, and it had all to do with Highland Springs' defensive line. Their defensive line was incredible. The first quarter, Norview was able to move the ball, scored some points. Then Lauren Johnson, the coach up at Highland Springs, changed it up. He says, look, we're over-pursuing. They started watching the holes. They shut him down. They shut down Marks. They just really shut down the offense. And even at the end, Mac still tried to bring him back, and it just didn't work. It ended up getting sacked twice, and it wasn't a good day for the defensive line. I mean, for the offensive line for Norview, but defensive line was great for Highland Springs.
Right, yeah, Highland Springs is a defending state champion, so they'll go for another state title this Saturday. Before we get to those games, though, let's talk about the All-Tidewater, the Abe Goldblatt All-Tidewater Player of the Year. We've narrowed the list of candidates to 6 really good candidates. It's a really good list. And let's start in no particular order with those Norview guys we just talked about. Dariel Mack Jr., the quarterback, and Kevin Marks. They've had quite a season for the Pilots.
Yeah, with Dariel Mack Jr., I mean, here's a guy going to Central Florida. He ended up having total yards, 4,176 total yards, 52 touchdowns. I looked, it's now 10th all-time in the Virginia High School League, single-season total yards. Incredible season. And then, of course, his countermate, Kevin Marks, just had a great season, 32 touchdowns, ran for close to 2,500 yards, just a real good connection, and that's what got him to where they got to.
Yeah, you know, Dariel Mack's going to Central Florida. Kevin Marks is headed to Buffalo, and they took Norview as far as they've been in decades. Norview hasn't won a state championship since 1959, so that tells you how well those guys played.
Long time ago.
You know, another candidate that we've talked quite a bit about is a guy going to JMU. Lake Taylor's Diamante Tucker Dorsey. Now, he doesn't have the big numbers that Mack and Marks have, but he has done a lot of things all over the field.
He definitely had. He was a third leading scorer on that team. He ran the ball. He caught the ball. He led the team in tackles with 122. Had 29 for a loss, and he also had 7 sacks and 4 fumble recoveries. He was just that person. Wherever you needed him, he was there. He did a great job for the Titans this year.
Yeah, he was the Conference 17 overall player of the year and the defensive player of the year, and that's Tucker Dorsey. So now we'll move on. Some guys we've talked quite a bit about. Shawn Mitchell, he's headed to William & Mary, the all-time leader in, let's count the categories.
1.
Touchdown passes, receiving yards, and completions. He's number 1 on the all-time list. He had a really good season. I don't know that he's had a great season, but he's definitely had a very good season. And he's headed to William & Mary, and he's got Oscar Smith in the state championship game.
Consistency for 4 seasons, consistent. How many players, how many quarterbacks can say they're playing in 3 state title games? That just says a lot for him.
And Shawn Mitchell, I'll tell you, you know, he may not have the numbers in the postseason, but when they've needed a big play, a big pass, he made it. He made it last week. And his teammate, you know, I think we're thinking that Kailen Perry deserves to be on this list. Kailen Perry, another guy kind of like Tucker Dorsey, is all over the field. Just last week, he blocked a punt, he caught the game-winning touchdown pass, And he has 5 or 6 interceptions,
Right,
so
right.
he's been playing all over the field.
And defense has been the key for Oscar Smith this whole season, and he's one of the main reasons why as well.
Yeah, so our final All-Tidewater Player of the Year candidate is a guy going to Florida State. That's Kailen LeBlanc, the running back at Bishop Sullivan. He had about 1,400 yards rushing, and really was a key player on that team that made its mark, I think, this season.
If anybody who went to the IMG game just saw him hurdling, running over, running around, he just did everything in that game. He just showed what kind of skills that he has. And it's going to be exciting to see what he does now when he goes to Florida State. I'm real interested to see what he does when he goes there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially down in Seminole Nation, are excited to see what Kailen LeBlanc does down there. So that's our All-Tidewater Player of the Year finalist list. We're going to narrow that down over the next few days, so watch out. That team is released. The All-Tidewater Team and Player of the Year comes out on Christmas Day, so that'll be in the paper and on 757Teamz.com. So now, Larry, let's get to Saturday.
Wow.
Now, we do not have to make hotel reservations.
That's a
we
beautiful
don't have
thing.
to drive in the bad weather
No,
to
it's a
Charlottesville.
beautiful thing.
We are just going across the water to Hampton University.
Yeah.
That's where the state championship games are going to be this weekend for 5A and 6A. 3A and 4A are just next door in Williamsburg.
Right.
So talk about sort of what that means for a local team like Oscar Smith. Their fans don't have to go across the state to see them play in the state title game.
And that's a great thing for us, especially, as you said. We were a little worried because we were hoping they move all the state tournaments to this side. To not have a team would have been really disappointing. But Oscar Smith came through. Now they get their fans will get a great fan support. They always have a pretty good fan support anyways. But now they don't have to go too far. They don't have to go all the way to Virginia Tech or Virginia. They can be right here. I think they're going to get a huge support there. And I think that's going to be big for them.
Yeah, the 5A game is Highland Springs against Stonebridge. That's game's at 12 noon. At Hampton University. That'll be followed by the big one between Westfield and Oscar Smith, and it's a rematch of last season's state championship game where Westfield won 49-42 in triple overtime, an amazing game. So, Larry, this one should be a pretty good one, too.
Yeah, I think a lot of those Oscar Smith players who were in that one are in this one. Bad taste. They got a chance to redeem themselves. We'll see what happens now. But it's going to be a big test. Westfield's a very good team, a very good defensive team as well. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a real battle.
Yeah, it'll be Shawn Mitchell, the Oscar Smith quarterback's 3rd state championship game. He has not won, so he'll be motivated to bring home a state championship. Westfield, this is a team that's going to be disciplined. They play good defense, like you said. So the Oscar Smith defense and the offense is going to have a good game.
Yeah, I was looking. Westfield, they've given up 138 points in the playoffs. They scored 138 points. They've only given up 35. So they've given up like 8 points a game while scoring 34, almost 35 points. That's going to be the key. Can Oscar Smith shut down their offense, and then can Oscar Smith score against Westfield's defense? It's going to be a nice little battle, a nice chess meet, definitely for that one.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about the Westfield game against Oscar Smith in a live broadcast on Facebook Live, on the Virginian-Pilot Facebook Live page. About 4 o'clock, right before the game, we'll be on the field, and we'll tell you all you need to know about Westfield and Oscar Smith. Also, look for in the paper this week. We're going to have a feature story on Westfield, see what that team's all about. We got a couple of stories coming on Oscar Smith. So check out the paper on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And, of course, 757Teamz.com for all the updates live from the game. We'll be there, and thanks for joining us.